Hello and welcome to this first module called How to Construct an Outline and Block Out Your Book. The purpose of this module is to see you through all the preliminary steps before you begin writing the first draft of your story. This first video is called How to Translate Your Inspired Image. So you have an idea for a story, some image inside your head that first inspired you to write your story. It's an image that you imagined. That's why I call it your inspired or your imagined image. The idea that you have to do is further develop that image. You have to further cultivate that image and develop it into your story. So how do you do that? First thing you have to do is to be able to vividly see your imagined image. You have to know everything about that image that sparked your imagination, that sparked the desire in you to write this story. What does the terrain look like? Is it an exterior scene, an interior scene? What sort of characters have you thought of? And flesh these things out. You have to figure out all the specific elements that construct this imagined image. So what you can do is figure out what elements you like about that image, parse those elements out to create more images that belong in your story. So let's say you're writing a medieval story, so to speak, and the image you had thought of is a knight walking his horse through a path in the woods in the middle of the night where moonlight is shafting down around him, and he's leading his horse to some castle. And what you can do is parse out all the elements of that image. So the horse, the knight, what sort of armor is the knight wearing, and then create more imagined images using those elements. So the armor that the knight is wearing can be also worn by other knights. Various sorts of armor, whether that's chainmail or shining armor. And then the horse, clippity-cloppeting through the wooded path, can help you to be inspired to create more medieval sorts of scenes. Maybe in a town where horses are clippity-cloppeting down the cobblestone town streets, and you're looking at the Tudor-style buildings rise up around you, and you can suddenly picture the slate roofs or the terracotta or thatch-style roofs, all the different cottages that line the roads, some of the stories to the Tudor houses, the higher stories extending over the town streets, and suddenly your story begins to develop. The environment of your story can further develop. You need to build your environment until you can describe nearly everything about it, everything about the image you had first imagined, as well as more images using those same sorts of elements, the elements that sparked your imagination to write this story. Another way to further develop your story is to use your inspired image to directly create new scenes or environments. So ask yourself the following questions. Using the wooded path example, how did your character, that is the knight, get to where he is? Where is he going? Where did he come from? What friends does he have? What is his errand? Etc. Answering all of these questions starts to answer the big questions of your story. What's the setting, the plot line, the characters, what goes on in the story? And reference material can help. In a video I give if you subscribe to my email list, the Conservative Cornerstones email list. I talk a lot about reference material and how you can acquire it. But whether it comes from art galleries or places you visit and tour, or from even online Google Images or stories you like, have a lot of reference material handy that can further help spark your imagination for your story. Using reference material and your inspired image, you should be able to create more inspired, more imagined images and scenes that belong in your story, using the elements of your story, the sort of feel of your story, the sort of genre of your story, and being able to use those elements to create more scenes. Final tip for this video is to research everything about your story. What sort of occupations, metals, foods, clothing, textile industries, everything that belongs in your story and how it belongs there, what sort of building materials people have on hand, etc., etc. Start in on the research and try to cultivate the society of your story. You need to be able to understand what the main characters would do on an average normal day before your plot really takes place.